I know what you're thinking. This has got to be it, right? That dream of yours, that pursuit like no other, it's got to be leading towards something bigger and bolder than me. And you're probably at a place in your success journey where you've reached the edge of a plateau. You can see the rocks down below, and you can also see a glimpse, a slight glimpse of your dream, that purpose, that level of your business that you've been working so hard to obtain in the distance. But that transition from where you are to where you want to be is going to require something of you. It's going to require you to truly embrace your purpose like no other. It's going to require you to embrace it by promoting yourself into purpose, as well as promoting yourself into that requirement of success, which comes with the risk, which comes with the fear of failure. That's the natural part of your success journey. I believe one thing. I believe that you may be like most of us, downsizing our dreams to fit within a certain box that is more doable, right? As a matter of fact, one of those best-selling authors out there stated that most of us don't aim too high and miss. We aim too low and hit. And as we're aiming low and hitting, people around us are celebrating us, they're embracing us, congratulating us for a job well done, but yet we know deep down on the inside that we've aimed too low and we've hit, when our purpose is really on another level. So here are the things that you're going to learn during my talk about promoting yourself into purpose. You're going to learn the 3 reasons why you absolutely must promote yourself into purpose today. You're going to learn the 3 ways to position yourself for success. And you're also going to learn the number 1 way to stay motivated. We all need motivation, right? So you're going to learn the number 1 way to stay motivated. Now, first, I've got to tell you, I have not always been this fired up about pursuing purpose and living a life of purpose. As a matter of fact, I wasn't quite sure what my purpose was at one point in my journey. It wasn't until something very tragic happened in my life that brought me to a collision point where my pain and disappointment collided with my purpose, and I had one of those aha moments and realized that I was called to do something bigger than I could have ever even imagined. It was 4.5 years ago that my husband and I had that moment. We were pregnant with our first child, a daughter who we were so excited about being a parent for. We prayed for her. We struggled with infertility and got help to get pregnant with lots of prayer and work and effort. We got to a point where we were able to even celebrate her by learning we were having a girl through a gender reveal party. Wow, it was so exciting. It was so exciting. We had people fly in from different states just to celebrate this joy of parenthood, this journey we were starting. But unfortunately for us, that excitement was short-lived. It was 2 weeks later that we would have the most devastating experience of our life to date. I experienced a major pain in the upper right side of my belly after returning home from visiting family. It was so dire that my husband rushed me to the emergency room, and within a few hours learned that our baby girl's heartbeat had stopped beating. Talk about broken. Talk about hitting some rocks. I didn't know it at the time, but my blood pressure was over 200 over 100. My liver was literally about to burst on the inside of me. My body was screaming out for help, ironically, while our baby girl was dying on the inside of me. I was broken, disappointed, scared. Wow. And yet I didn't stay there. I didn't stay there. With lots of prayer, lots of work, lots of self-talk, I made a decision that I would transform my pain into a pursuit of purpose. There had to be something bigger than me that was the reason why I would go through what I went through, right? It had to be something bigger. I was on a mission of pursuing purpose. And I'm going to tell you about my aha moment at the end of my talk. But I want you to first write down your 3 points. I want you to write down the 3 reasons, and I'm going to give them to you now, of why you must pursue your purpose and promote yourself into purpose. Number 1, you must promote yourself into purpose because someone's top is your bottom. Your bottom is someone else's top. Your broken pieces make the fabric that cleanses out someone else's wounds. You are a solution to someone else's problem. You have to know what greatness lies within you and what value you bring to the table. Number 2, your legacy requires you to be outstanding. It does. It requires you to be outstanding. Now, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins. And one of the things he stated in his momentum talks is that most of us really push hard to be excellent, right? We go from good to great to excellent. But he even challenges more by stating that you got to stretch to be outstanding, to live the life that you believe you're called to live. And fortunately, the difference between excellent and outstanding is only about 2 milliliters of a stretch, of a push. You have to be outstanding. Your purpose requires that. It requires that level of excellence, something that a level of energy, maybe something that you've never committed to before. You're required to be outstanding. As I mentioned, Tony believed that the excellent folks were only those 2 milliliters away from being outstanding. It is where you live as the best of the best and enjoy the life you were designed to live. It is where you leave your mark on this earth that only your DNA can leave. So number 1, you are someone else's solution. Your bottom is someone else's top. Number 2, your legacy requires you to be outstanding. And number 3, you are the only one that can promote you. An employer can't do it. A spouse can't do it. A philanthropist or person of influence can't do it. The only things outsiders can offer you are resources and opportunity. You and only you have the ability to promote yourself. You're the only one that can do it. Are you willing to do what is necessary to fully embrace your purpose, to take the leap toward that next level of success in your business, and position yourself to be someone else's solution truly on a global level? Are you willing to do the work? Now, you may ask this. Why is it, Kim? Why is it that it seems like some people have just got this thing figured out, right? They seem to just have the secret sauce to success. Take Melinda Gates, for example. You know, Melinda was at Microsoft in the early days, in the startup days. She actually went to Duke University and received a degree in computer programming. She turned down an opportunity potentially to work for a more well-known company, but Microsoft was a better opportunity for her as a woman in this field. She went there, started a great career in computer programming. And 8 years later, she was married to Bill Gates. They were soon after building what we know today as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's a foundation that's given probably over $37 billion in funds to support some of the most dire and tragic issues in our world. helping to eliminate poverty, helping to eliminate women's health issues in third world countries. She did that. They did that. Now, some of you may say, oh, they just got the secret sauce to success, right? They've got it figured out. I would argue with you. I believe that Bill and Melinda Gates don't have the secret sauce. As a matter of fact, when attending a global leadership conference this past year, she stated that Bill was just lucky. Bill was just lucky with Microsoft. But also, she stated that he happened to be building computers and doing something different in a time that people really wanted that. So the word that stood out to me most was time. Timing. Be intentional with the timing of your success. That's your first point. Be intentional with the timing of your success. That is the number one of those three ways to position yourself for success. Be open to those yes opportunities, to stretch yourself. Do something that may seem crazy, uncomfortable. Take risks in your dream. The only way to get off that first plateau and onto the second one is to take the risks. Be intentional. Another person that I talk about often is Oprah. I love Oprah. She's my girlfriend, but she just may not know it yet. But Oprah is a great example of someone that was intentional about her success. She has a phenomenal story of struggle and also perseverance. But in many interviews and in many talks, Oprah uses the word intentional often. She was very intentional in what she invested her time in, what she invested her resources in, who she surrounded herself by. Oprah was very intentional. She didn't start off as the Oprah that we know and love of her today. She invested in the right opportunities. She was a servant leader. And most importantly, she believed that she was called to be outstanding. So even though Melinda Gates may have associated Microsoft's success with luck, she again stated that Bill was in timing. And Oprah has consistently been intentional about her yes opportunities. The common theme here is that neither of them were waiting for anyone else's permission to pursue their passions. And their passions led them to a life of purpose. So number one, the number one way to position yourself for success is to be in timing. The number two way is to be intentional with those yes opportunities. And the number three way to position yourself for success is to measure your impact. Let me ask you, how would you know your value unless you measured it? How would you know your impact and your ability to communicate that impact unless you measured it? You have to measure your impact. And that may look different depending on your industry and what your focus is. But I assure you, you have to measure your impact. The only way to know the value and have the confidence that's required in your field is to measure your impact. No one will care about or understand your value better than you. And more often than not, you may not even be able to articulate it to yourself. Measuring your impact looks like asking for testimonials, measuring the success that others experience as a result of them working with you or using your product. It looks like building your own dashboard that lays out your value to partners and sponsors and future clients to see. It not only builds your credibility, but it builds your confidence. It pushes you to take risks on you because you know your value. Have you measured your success? And if so, are you continuing to measure your success? So again, the three ways to position yourself for success: be in timing, be intentional with your impact, and measure your success. By applying these strategies, you will promote yourself into purpose and essentially start that shift to being outstanding, that leap toward your next level in your business. Now, please remember, these strategies only work if you do that work. As a matter of fact, Bishop T.D. Jakes stated that if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always be where you've always been. That seems common sense, right? Well, most of us know that common sense isn't common. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always be where you've always been. You have to be willing to stretch yourself and do something different on this journey of success in pursuing purpose. And in order to truly, again, promote yourself into purpose, you've got to embrace it. The good, the bad, the ugly. You've got to embrace it. You've got to be willing to take those bold leaps off one terrain to the next, knowing that the rocks are below, but we're really focusing on the journey and the dream that you see in the cloud ahead. Are you willing to do the work? Bishop Jakes is making a lot of sense here. But the reality is that it requires much effort to live and play in the realm of uncomfort. But promoting yourself into purpose requires that you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So here is the number one way to stay motivated. The number one way. In order to stay motivated, you have to really understand your value and your impact. You have to know your why. You have to know what's driving you forward. Why is it that you've devoted so much energy and effort into this business, into this cause? What is keeping you up at night? What is keeping you waking up every day so thankful for another chance to get it right? That's your why. For those of you that have stayed with me this long, I have a special gift for you. Some of the things that I mentioned in my talk may sound slightly familiar, especially for those of you that have been in business and been in this work for a few years. But for those of you who have not had tools where they can measure their impact and measure their value, then I have a gift for you. I want to make sure that you have the tools necessary to be able to both measure and articulate your value. It builds your confidence. It promotes opportunities for partnerships and collaborations. It gives confidence and portrays confidence to your clients and potential clients. You want to be able to measure your impact. This is something that I've done for several years within corporate America, and I want to offer you a toolkit on how you, as a business owner and as a career woman, can measure her impact and produce the success in life that you desire to produce. So simply text the word winners to 38470. When you text the word winners, and that's plural, WINNERS, to 38470, be sure to include PTIO. I want to make sure that I give you the right toolkit. Text the word winners to 38470 and include PTIO in that first text, and you will receive a behind the brand toolkit on how to measure my impact. Again, text the word winners to 38470 and you will receive within 24 hours a behind the brand toolkit on how to measure my impact. I want to make sure that you have the success that you deserve within your business. I want to make sure that you're equipped with the tools so that you can fully promote yourself into purpose and do the things necessary to be successful, because again, someone is waiting on you to step out and really embrace your calling. Now, as you go ahead and text that word winners to 38470, I'm going to go ahead and share with you my why story. I'm going to share with you why I'm even here before you today to talk about promoting yourself into purpose, and give you another glimpse of why you have to stay moving. You have to stay in movement because someone somewhere is waiting on you to really step out and embrace your purpose. So earlier I talked about our loss 4.5 years ago. And I will say it was a decision, an active, intentional decision to transform my pains into a pursuit of purpose. My faith, my prayer life, my belief in something bigger than me, calling me to do something greater, was prominent, right? So I was on the lookout for something that would help bring this thing full circle. I was on the lookout for something that would give Lauren's legacy value. It was 1 year later after our loss that I found myself before a group of very pregnant women. Oh my goodness. I was in a room with women that were 5, almost 9 months pregnant, standing there to talk about health crisis issues for especially African American women, particularly related to preeclampsia and HELLP syndrome. So I talked about it. I talked about the importance and value of partnering with your physician. And at the end of that talk, I shared my story. Wow. Now that's the risk in itself, right? To share a story of loss in front of a group of very pregnant women. Who does that? But I knew that I was called to be there and to share my story and to empower the women so that they don't experience, at least to the same extent, what I experienced. So I did. I talked about Lauren. I talked about our love. I talked about our tragedy, and as well as our hope. So I left them with this. My intention is not to sow a seed of fear, but to empower you with knowledge. And at the end of the talk, I gave some giveaways out and passed out some cards, and I went about my way. It was a few months later that I received a call, permission by the patient, of course, and was informed that one of the women that was in that very class had to be rushed to the emergency room afterward, planning to attend a regular doctor's appointment, and then ended up in the emergency room because she had those same pains in the upper right side of her belly. The same pains, the same descriptions that I poured out to her literally just an hour before, and she found herself in the hospital. She was able to articulate to the physicians what was going on with her. She was able to let them know what she thought was happening. And her life was saved. And her child's life was saved. Her baby only spent a few weeks in the NICU. Now, mind you, my daughter was in heaven, had been in heaven for a year by that time, right? But she was able to embrace her child that Mother's Day because I was willing to step out of my own comfort zone, walk and pursue and truly embrace my purpose, to use my voice to influence others, which is a part of my purpose. And as a result, a life was saved. Who is waiting on you to promote yourself into purpose? Ladies, it's bigger than us. It's bigger than our failures. It's bigger than our fears. It's bigger than anything we can imagine. It's linked to the lives and the generations of so many people around us and after us. Someone, somewhere is waiting on you to fully embrace and promote yourself into purpose. No excuses, no waiting on someone's permission. You've got to be willing to do the work. You've got to be willing to embrace your gift, embrace your purpose, and walk out this journey. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is Kimberly Smith. I'm the CEO and founder of the Positivity Academy. I cannot wait to hear the stories of all the things that you do as a result of fully promoting yourself into purpose. Take care.